Hey, welcome back. We're doing this again. It's top five.
Top five.
Yeah, Mike's here again.
Hello, world.
So, if you guys heard this last podcast we did, it's my brand new, fresh idea that I've come up with entirely on my own, called Top Five, where we talk about top five of things and stuff. So, joining me again is,
Hey, I'm Mike. It's good to see you again.
and this time for our top five, we have a top four. number three is.
You know, why don't you just get out? All right, we'll take it from here. We'll do
Introduce yourself.
My name's Rob. For the 10 viewers who are going to listen to this.
10 is really pushing it.
Oh, sorry.
And also joining us,
Hi, I'm Justin.
the one and only, my podcast partner in crime on other things, but
Good to have you back, Justin.
Good to be back, Mike.
I'm just glad to be here.
so today we're going to talk about video games again, because it's something we can all get along with. It's something we can all play together.
Yeah,
You
we don't
see
really
where
get
I'm
along.
going with a segue? We're going to talk about multiplayer game, guys.
Oh, wow.
We're going to talk about top five multiplayer games.
That was a strong segue, by the way.
I worked on it for the last 15 seconds, maybe.
It was well balanced.
So
I've never rode a Segway.
So as Mike and I did before, let's just kick this conversation off right away. We're not going to talk about our top fives right away. Let's save that, all right? We're going to save that for a little while. Let's talk about some honorable mentions. So I know Rob is really just itching for his first honorable mention.
I really am. So my first honorable mention that I can remember playing that I thought was worthy of this podcast was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game.
Oh,
wow.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's a really
I
good
told you it was
pick.
a really good one.
You're right.
I wouldn't lie to you.
So you want to explain the history behind that one?
Well, the history behind it for us, as a friend group, I would say, would probably start back in the late '90s, early 2000s at Sports Plus, which
Yeah.
was this really big. It was like the spot to be.
So everybody around the world will know of Dave & Buster's. But for us, as local Long Islanders, we had this place way before Dave & Buster's called Sports Plus, which was basically just a big-ass arcade.
Right.
It's-
Had
And
some rides
more.
inside of
It had a bunch of cool shit. It had laser tag, go-karting, but the main attraction was arcades.
Right. So that's really where it started for us. Later, it was released on the Xbox 360, I believe. But what a great game! I can remember spending nearly all my tokens just to play that game with my friends.
But there's one specific story that I think it earns that
Yeah,
spot.
and that's what I'm getting to. So you would spend a couple tokens for maybe 5 lives, if that, for per person. So there's up to 4 people can play. There's 4 turtles, Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously. I would always try to be Raphael.
Can you name them all right now? Nobody else say anything.
Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Leonardo.
Good job. All right.
Yeah.
Keep
Well
going.
I'm no scrub.
What's the rat's name?
Ted. we'll call him Doug.
His name is Splinter, you
Do you
asshole.
know why he's called Splinter?
No.
He's called Splinter because he was based after Daredevil's teacher, Stick.
How about that?
That's a pretty fucking cool fact.
Yeah.
Justin's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he
It's true.
Well,
it up.
yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was based off of Daredevil. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't
That's
know
real.
that.
That's actually real.
Interesting trivia.
I didn't know that.
It's true. Look it up.
Mr. Comic Book Guy over here doesn't know anything about comic books.
Wow, how about that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Learn something new every day, comic book guy. So
At least he's a guy and not a man, because that'd be copyright.
that's right. So Kevin Smith, plug. So
Sponsor.
so I can remember playing with my friends, spending nearly all my tokens on this game. And there was this one time where this guy came over, and I guess he was either emptying the tokens that were put into the game or fixing something, and he just laid in on this token button. So when you put the token in, there was this little sensor that gave you the lives that would like register as, like a coin. He just fucking laid into this thing. He was just pressing it nonstop, and we were just waiting to play. And he put 99 lives for each of us.
Everybody, all 4 of us that were playing the game, we all got
And
99
yeah,
lives.
and he just like looked at us. It was like this big black janitor.
He was,
but
yeah.
that's what he was. He's this big black janitor. Didn't look at us. Didn't say anything.
I can't put that in the podcast.
Why not? That's
That's
what he
a
was.
description.
Go
That's
ahead,
all
you're
it
right.
is.
You're
He's a
right.
big black janitor, and he didn't say anything to us. He just went and did his job, laid in on the coin slot, and we're just like, our jaws dropped, and we're looking at each other like, is this really happening right now?
we
Because we
would-
love this game.
We had no idea.
It was like tradition that we play this game at Sports Plus, and he just like looked at us. He's like, "Have fun," and we're like, "Thanks." And we played that for like an hour and a half.
we played the whole game.
We beat the whole thing.
the game right
yeah,
then and
we
there.
beat the game, and then like.
Nowadays, that'd be considered awfully ominous, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It would, but he just like walked away. He was like my hero, and he just like I never saw him again, ever.
Never saw
And
him
I went
again.
to Sports Plus after that. Never saw him.
He was probably fired right there.
Probably.
Actually.
That's probably him quitting. That's probably what that
Yeah,
was.
that was his
Probably.
last, his last moments. Did you play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I did, but not as much as you guys, apparently.
Then
I never
you-
got no damn 99 lives.
1989. No, that game was a fucking blast.
It was
That
great.
memory is one of my favorite video game memories actually ever. So
Yep.
that,
Oh, yeah.
that is a really, really good honorable mention. Mike, you got another one?
I do. It's Rampage for N64.
Wow. Good
my
honorable
goodness.
mention.
That's
Yeah.
a really good one.
So
So now that it's going to be a major motion picture, spark my memory
now
of that game.
it was like 3 months ago.
Oh, it came out already? Shows how much I know about.
And how quick it was in theaters for me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, it didn't look all that great. Sorry, Rock, but it didn't.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Get at me.
His
So-
name is T. He Rock. Just so you know.
T-He Rock?
That's his name. Everyone mispronounces it. They say it's The Rock, but it's really T. He Rock.
Oh, okay.
He's Hawaiian, so.
Right.
I get it.
Anyway, so the game is awesome. You just run around, eat people, smash cities to the ground,
And vomit.
and vomit. Yeah, when you eat the toxic waste.
It's a really, really good co-op game.
Yeah.
Really fun with your friends because you can beat the shit out of each other.
Yep.
I
That's
remember
right.
that mainly over anything else.
And you can eat them when they turn back
Exactly.
into you.
That game was just stupid fun. We beat that game a bunch of times too
Yeah,
on my
we did.
N64.
Yep, yep.
That game was a blast. That's another really good old school pick
Right.
from our childhood. So let's go to another childhood here. Justin, you have an honorable mention?
I do, but my childhood is awfully different from yours. I
boy.
wasn't allowed to play a lot of video games as a kid, so my video game experiences came as I got older. So a lot of the classic games, I got to play a little Rampage, but it was something that I didn't get to do very often. So my honorable mentions are not in any particular order, but I'm going to start off with one that I know nobody has here, Guitar Hero.
Huh.
Guitar Hero is going to be one of my honorable mentions.
That I gotta say, I'm surprised I didn't think of that. I'm surprised Mike didn't think of that
I'm surprised both of you didn't think of that.
because, yeah, we agree specifically. But
Guitar
what are your
Hero-
memory? Because you weren't around.
My memory, honestly, and I'll shout out to Mom, my memory was my coming home from school and my mother and I duking it out for 2 hours on Expert because she wanted to be better than me at the game. And we would play. It was the only video game that I was allowed to play during the week. Pretty much the rules in my house were this. During the week, I couldn't play video games at all unless I had a friend over. During the weekends, I was allowed to play for a little bit.
That sounds kind of familiar
That's
for you
very,
two.
Very, yeah, very similar rules.
But
But
the-
that was because we were doing poorly in school, not because.
I was doing fine and I still couldn't. But but the one game that got past all the boundaries and all the rules was Guitar Hero. That was the only game that I was allowed to go home and play at any point at any time throughout my high school career. And it was that one game that, I don't know, I graduated a little bit before you guys, but Guitar Hero was... When I was in high school, the game was Guitar Hero. Everybody played Guitar Hero.
When you're only a couple years old now, so when you were in high school, we were in middle school, and that was it. That was the game. Everyone was playing that game.
Yep.
Everyone. Was
And if
playing
you beat Through the Fire and Flames, you were a legend.
Yep, it's
And
true.
that was how it went.
it. Guess who's a legend here, boys?
Yeah. Right there with you.
Oh yeah, I beat that game on. I beat that motherfucker on Expert, and I walked into the Boys and Girls Club right afterwards. I played that game for hours trying to get that last song done. I just got 3 stars on it. I was like, fuck it, I did it. I'm the best. I walked into the Boys and Girls Club. I was like, guess what I just did? I just beat Through the Fire and Flames on Expert, and everyone went, okay. And that was it. So that was my crowning moment. Yeah. That was my crowning moment in Guitar Hero.
But I do just want to point out that I'm saying Guitar Hero and not Rock Band because Rock Band had the stupid square notes.
I hated that.
And
Yes.
it drove me up a wall.
Yep.
So Rock Band is not getting included in this.
Rock Band's guitar sucked also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awful.
So the gameplay sucked, but their music, my opinion, was way better than Guitar Hero.
I agree. There's more. They allowed literally every song ever because they had 1,000
And they
DLCs.
were all original recordings because a lot of the early Guitar Hero songs were like re-recorded by like.
That's
whoever the
true.
fuck
You're right.
Was sounding a little bit like the singer.
But since we're talking about video games, as a video game though,
Oh yeah.
it's so much better.
I
The
agree,
gameplay experience was so much better. Do you have a specific Guitar Hero that you liked best?
I'm probably gonna have to Guitar Hero 3.
Yep.
Slash on the cover. I wanted to be Slash. It was that simple. And that was, I think, the one where I probably put the most hours into because it had the hardest song at the end. I remember I think Freebird was in number 2. And Freebird
Yes,
was
it
a
was.
song that I wanted to beat, and that was a tough one too. And then Through the Fire and the Flames just took it to a completely different level.
Freebird, because the whole point, my history with Guitar Hero, and I have a big history with Guitar Hero. It's one of the main stories I ever tell anyone when I talk about my history with video games is a specific event that happens with Guitar Hero 3,
That's right.
where, because I can go into a whole other thing about Guitar Hero 2. The only reason why I got into these games was to be better than one of my friends. Everybody played that game at the Boys and Girls Club after school.
Yeah, I remember.
Everyone played that game. There was one person that was better than everyone else. And I was like, I'm gonna beat him. Guess what level he was better than everyone else on? Medium. So I was like, there are 2 more levels after that. I think I can get there. So I bought the game. I just played the fuck out of it, and eventually I got to the point where I was able to beat him just once. But then Guitar Hero 3 comes out. Play the fuck out of that game, and I get to the final 3. One of those final songs, as you will remember, Justin, Raining Blood.
Hate that song.
So
Love that song, but when it comes to the world of Guitar Hero, I hate that song.
So that first guitar solo in the very beginning, guitar solo, if you can call it guitar solo, the mashing of buttons in the first section of that song, I played that song, I counted 56 times in a row. I failed it every time. On the 56th try, I was home from school. I stayed home because I just wanted to play Guitar Hero. I was sick, quote unquote, but I just wanted to play Guitar Hero. So I stayed home all day trying to beat that game. Played Raining Blood 56 times in a row. On the 56th try, I failed. I gently put my guitar down because I didn't want to break my guitar. Turned around and punched my door repeatedly until it fell off its hinges. I broke my door down playing Guitar Hero 3. I've never, we have someone here that is the master of raging in video games. I've never raged harder in that game.
What a contrast, by the way. So here I am in my room having a wonderful time with my mother playing Guitar Hero 3, and now we're going to jump to Zach all alone in his dark room, beating the shit out of his door because he can't beat his song. What different childhoods we had.
I like your story though, playing Guitar Hero with your mom after you. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I would have loved. I mean, we did. We had a similar experience with that when we were a little younger with Donkey Kong 64 with our father. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It was cool, and it was all a ploy, too, because making her want to be good at the game bought me the excuse to be able to play it as often as I could. So it worked out.
So, Rob, you got another one?
I do. I have one more honorable mention, which is Battlefront 2.
Oh, the Star Wars
Yeah.
Battlefront
Star
2.
Wars Battlefront 2
The
for
original Star Wars
PlayStation
Battlefront
2.
2. Okay, whatever you're about to say about it, I'm sure I'll agree with everything you say. Personally, I can't look back at that as a multiplayer game because I never played it with anybody. I only
That's
ever
so sad.
I only ever played that game by myself. I don't know about obviously you guys had each other.
That's
so
right.
it's a different story for you and Mike.
That's so disappointing because I feel like that really amplified the experience for me
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Because
Such a fun game.
it just I mean, even though you would face bots most of the time, like Mike and I would be on the same team.
Yeah.
But when even facing bots, just running around, taking objectives with someone, it's just that game was so awesome. There's just I can't even think of anything any other words to describe it. It was just awesome. The experience. I mean, I have such nostalgia and love for Star Wars to begin with, and the first game was great, and then the second game added even more characters
And space battles.
and space battles.
So amazing.
Where that game was it's legendary, and I think a lot of PlayStation players would agree that that's probably one of the best games that ever came out of that system.
I agree. I played the Battlefront 2 specifically. I played on my PSP, and I played that Galactic Conquest 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I played that game by myself mainly, so I can't really speak to it as a multiplayer experience. So obviously, Mike, I'm sure you have a similar experience. No, we're not talking about your next pick yet, but Battlefront 2.
I do. Yeah, that game was so much fun to play with Rob. And I think a lot of that was because, nowadays you don't get a lot of split screening. You get a lot of online and, like, everybody's at their house and they're playing the same game together. But
The couch co-op type games.
yeah, those couch co-ops where, if you're playing together, it's really awesome. But I think kids now are missing out on that experience where you play a game against each other and you don't have that awkward, like, I want to fucking hit you in the throat right now because you're kicking my ass at this game. Like, I don't think kids really have that anymore as much as we do.
As we'll all agree at some point in our top fives, there's one specific game where that goes all out.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of wanting to punch your friend in the face.
Yep, it's true.
But, Justin, you play Battlefront 2? Did you play either Battlefront?
I played the first Battlefront.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but it never really was something that resonated with me on a deep level, mostly because I didn't have anybody to play it with.
Exactly. I that's
So
kind of how I feel.
I played it by myself, but when putting this list together, it wasn't something that I consider as a multiplayer game. I didn't have a multiplayer experience.
Exactly.
You didn't play Battlefront with your mom?
No, that was the only game I ever really got my mom into was Guitar Hero. Trust me, I tried, but I wasn't cunning as a 7-year-old, so it didn't really work out well.
Respect.
No, I think Battlefront is definitely up there, but as a multiplayer, when you said Star Wars specifically as a multiplayer game, do you guys remember Jedi Outcast?
Oh, yeah. Capture the flag, man.
Why didn't I
Playing-
put that?
Playing as those Jedis, just choking each other to death.
Oh, yeah.
Was just such a fun experience. That was the only that and Battlefront I'd say are like right up there as my top
Yeah.
two. Like just Star Wars games in general. There's really not a lot of good Star Wars games.
No, there's not.
So that game. was
Looking
so
at you, EA.
Fuck. Just get rid of it. Let it go. Let go of the rights. Let some other people play the goddamn game. Mike, you have another honorable mention?
I do, yeah. I'm going to keep it retro and say Gauntlet Legends.
Oh,
Wow.
That's another really good like N64 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man. That was such a fun game to play with all your friends and, like, trying to beat every level. Because, like, you couldn't save on that game.
No.
At least I couldn't. I don't know if anybody else had a way to do that. But I could not save anything on that game.
Yeah, you had to go through all
So,
of it.
yeah.
right at
So
the
if
beginning.
you lost, like, you had to do the whole thing over again.
My experience with Gauntlet Legends, I played the first 3 levels over. And
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was tough. Like, that was when games, like, you couldn't really pick a difficulty. You just kind of, like, had to do it. Like, whether you were able
Yeah.
to or not. Like,
Oh,
you just
yeah.
had to try. So playing with that with a bunch of my friends and, picking the different characters and, fighting over who accidentally took the food,
Oh,
Food is
my-
good.
Yeah. Like, everybody's stocking up on weapons and you were, like, left with shit because everybody wouldn't, like, you know what, you don't have a weapon yet. Take this one. It's like, no, I need like 9 of the same thing, and you're gonna have to die. Sorry.
That's the first game I ever remember that type of experience with Gauntlet specifically. That game. Wow, that's a really good pick. So, Justin, you got one more honorable mention before we get into our top 5s?
Yes, and this was hard. I had a lot of trouble with this one because there are a lot of, I think unlike you guys, I have a lot of sports games that are really near and dear to my heart. So I'm just going to throw out the name Ken Griffey Jr. Slugger. That game was fantastic. But my honorable mention that I think has to stay here is NFL Blitz.
Yes.
Yes.
As soon as you said Slugger, I thought of Blitz. I love that game.
NFL Blitz was that one game that just was so much fun and infuriating to play with other people.
Yeah.
That we just talked about the game where you were sitting next to someone and you wanted to drop kick them in the throat. NFL Blitz was that game. And the beautiful thing about NFL Blitz was you could actually drop kick people in the throat in that game. So it worked out perfectly. I was the master of pass interference, and my father used to get pissed at me all the time. Well, that's pass interference. Not in this game, it ain't pass interference. That game was a blast. That game, for me, also has a special memory because my cousin Matt and I, we used to put pillows in our shirts in his basement, and then we used to play NFL Blitz in real life. And we used to run into each other over and over again and try and get to the other side of the room.
That's great.
And we used to call it NFL Blitz. That game was
That's awesome.
near and dear.
Now that you're saying that, now I'm thinking of NFL Street 2.
I'm glad you said that because Justin, you just changed my number 5 spot.
Well, okay, that's a really good segue because I think those are really good honorable mentions, and now we can just dive right into our top 5s. And you said it, and I just saw Mike changed his number 5. Mike, what's your number 5?
My number 5 just changed to NFL Street 2.
So I specifically remember you and Rob playing this game a lot, and
Yeah, my brother and I used to play a lot of games together because, as I said in the previous podcast, we had to share the system. So we would take our turns if it was one player, and if it was two player, we got lucky. So we got to play at the same time. So this game, NFL Street 2, was awesome. You got to create your own character. You got to create your own team. You got to kick the shit out of player. Like, you could drop kick them and tackle them whenever the fuck you wanted. It didn't even matter. But I remember that game so much because Rob and I made our own characters, and then we would play against them, like, you know. And Rob was always better than me again at that game. I was playing as the New England Patriots one time, and that hurts me to say that out loud. But I was playing as the Patriots because they were a great team in that game. And every single pass I made as Tom Brady, he would intercept it. Every one. No matter what I did. And then it would the camera would switch, and he'd run towards me. I'm like, God damn it. Like, there's nothing I could do to beat him in that game.
Right.
So
That's right.
that's that, you know, couch co-op experience where you want to punch your brother in the fucking head because he keeps taking every single pass you make. Yeah.
I mean, my guy had mad hops. I don't know what you want.
He had mad hops. He was able to run on the wall. Like, yeah.
And the character creation in that game was so much fun too. My guy literally looked nothing like me. He looked more like Derek Jeter than he looked like me. And he was playing football. It was great.
What more can you ask for?
That's right.
That's my experience with that game is entirely watching you two play it. So that basically summed it up for me. Did you ever play NFL Street 2?
Oh yeah. NFL Street and NBA Street were
Yeah.
all that I played all
never,
the time.
I never got to play that game, and I really wanted to.
NBA Street was a blast,
Yeah.
but NFL Street was a lot of fun. The only reason why I don't have NFL Street on my list is because I have something that's football related higher in my top 5 list.
Just real quick before we keep going, I just want to talk to you specifically, Justin, about sport games. Do you remember NHL 2001? Specifically 2001.
I don't. The first iteration of NHL that I played was '95, and I didn't.
Oh my God.
Wow. I didn't come back to NHL to 2003.
But, okay,
Quite a
yeah.
hiatus.
Because I remember, because we're talking about like big hits and whatnot, the one feature I loved about NHL 2001 was diving hits. You can just dive and hit people, and what made me think about it was when you said you hated playing as the Patriots,
Yeah.
but they were the best team.
Right.
I had to play as the Devils every time. I just picked them every single time because what the hell is his name? Arnott. Scott Arnott or something like one. He was.
I know who you're
he was,
talking about.
He's the center for the Devils. He was one of the captains. But no, not Brodeur was the captain, but and who was goddamn best goalie in the goddamn game. Brodeur was unbeatable, but playing as Arnott, he would ruin people, and that game was just so much fun to play. Just hitting people as hard as you possibly can. But I can't talk about it as a multiplayer because I
Now,
never played
just real
with
quick,
anybody.
did anybody here play NHL Hits?
No.
NHL Hits was the NFL Blitz spin on NHL.
Okay.
And that game was a lot of fun. If you enjoy hitting people really hard and putting them through the glass on the reg,
Yeah.
NHL Hits is a game.
All right, so NFL Street 2, that was Mike's number 5. Justin, what's your number 5? You're really gonna say it?
Yeah,
Go ahead, say it. Ruin everybody's day.
it's Destiny.
Ah.
Destiny is my number 5, and now the reason why I'm upset about that is because I have come to the realization that Destiny is a lie
Fickle.
and trash, and it promised me so much and it underdelivered. It's like when you order dinner and the dinner comes out and it looks nothing like the picture in the menu, and you just go, "Wow, I should have ordered something else." That's what Destiny is to me.
That's kind of how I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah. I don't know why I agreed to that, but yeah. The only reason why I have Destiny in my top 5 and not as an honorable mention is because I put so much time, effort, sweat, blood, tears
Mostly.
into it.
Mostly tears.
So
I can
when
say
it-
that about my relationships. Doesn't mean they're gonna make my top 5 list.
have you even had 5 girlfriends?
Oh!
Yes, I have.
When it comes down to it, I think it actually would be foolish of me not to give Destiny its due when I did put so much time and effort into it. Nowadays, you know, with the new DLC coming out and with Destiny 2, I played Destiny 2 for, I think, the span of like a month, and it's not the same anymore, but...
No. It was the same,
Well,
and
okay,
that's
yes,
why
it
you
was
couldn't
the
play
same.
it anymore.
That's the problem with it. But when it comes down to it, that year and a half where I pretty much played Destiny exclusively, I played Destiny for a year and a half exclusively. It gets its due. Destiny is my number 5.
Talk about under-delivering. can I just segue here real quick? You've had your embarrassment. I want to embarrass these two right now. Talk about under-delivering. You guys remember a game called Brink?
No.
So,
Funny enough.
So
I remember the opening cinematic.
Oh, yeah, that's about all I remember.
That was the game. That wasn't. That was it.
So, as the connoisseur of video games that I am, for Mike and Rob specifically, because they don't ever pay attention to what's coming in the world of video games. Rob a lot more than Mike, but
Yeah.
neither of them. No, we were all. That's what I should say. We were all in for Brink.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean them. Because everyone knew about Brink coming out, and everyone was super hyped about it, and everyone was pre-ordering it. Mike, Rob, our other friend Johnny, everybody was all in on this game. And I was looking at this game going, this game's going to be garbage. I was watching, I was like, I can't wait for you guys to play for fucking 5 minutes and put it down forever.
And there was a lot of advertisements for it.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of push for it on television.
They
You
sold
couldn't
it
go.
really well.
Yeah, you couldn't go anywhere without actually not seeing any type of Brink propaganda. So they really, you knew what Brink was and you knew when it was coming out. I remember watching the commercials and being like, I was unsure about the game. It looked cool, and the idea of it was cool.
That game created the word hype, and then that like made the culture of like, oh, it's just all hype,
Yeah.
and then it just crashes and burns.
Because
that's where it originated.
The hype was in its gameplay of you can run on walls.
Yeah.
That's what it promised you, was that you can run on walls and you can climb up shit, like you can parkour in this
That's what it was. It was the
multiplayer
parkour features.
in this multiplayer environment. And then the game came out. They got it. I didn't because I was smarter. And they played it for what? A week?
A week.
Maybe.
Easy. Yeah. At most.
Maybe 6 days and a couple hours.
And I'm sitting there online with them as they're playing Brink, and I'm just playing my own games, and they're going, "Fuck this game!" Just talk about under-delivering. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how, because I've had my fair share of. I'm so excited for this game, and then it comes out, I'm like, oh, well, that was disappointing. But that game, for some reason, I saw the writing on the wall from a mile away, and it came out and fucking flopped.
To be fair, all of my top 5 games have made me say the words "fuck this game."
That's true, but you're the
So
resident rager of our friend
okay,
group.
well,
So,
we're not gonna go there.
so Justin's number 5 was Destiny, disappointingly. Rob, number 5.
My number 5 is tied between 2, which is Mario Party 64 and Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, those are good.
Wow.
Which
Pokemon
Mario
Stadium.
Party? Are you going to say all of the 64 ones?
I'm just gonna say the 64 ones
Because
that's where I have the most vivid memory of playing Mario Party with my friends.
Mario Party 3 is my absolute favorite of
yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
Of all time, Mario Party 3 I think just tops everything when it comes to mini games,
Easily.
hating your friends and the star fighting and all that
Yes.
stuff. That was just my absolute favorite. Did you, Justin? You played Mario. You had to have played Mario Party.
Yes, and the first.
Really? Why?
Oh wow.
Because I didn't play a lot of Mario Party. I didn't have Nintendo console. I had the N64. And after the first Mario Party, that's all I had. So when it comes down to it, that's the one I played the most.
To be fair, those games were expensive.
Yeah.
Those games were expensive. You had to get your parents to put out a lot of money for those games. So, but no, I agree. The 64 Mario Parties, specifically for me, is Mario Party 3. It has to be Mario Party 3.
Yeah.
But Pokemon Stadium, those mini games.
Those mini games were so. The one that really pissed me off the most was was the Hypno
Yes.
one with the
Psyduck?
No, it's
No.
the one with Drowsy
Oh.
and Hypno. And
Where you had to hit
push,
A.
Yeah, you had to push the ball between you, and like, to me, it felt like you randomly just fell asleep. Like there was no rhyme or reason to it. You're like, yeah, fucking player 4's gonna fall asleep now. Player 1, 2, 3-1. Play 3 ones. And you're like, I was mashing the fucking shit out of the A button at the perfect time.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Rob's level of what's number 1 on his list is this game pissed me off the most.
I was just thinking that.
What game pissed Rob off the most?
Yeah. That's actually, you know what? Honestly, in chronological order, it's like this one pissed me off the least, and this one pissed me off the most. That's pretty much what it is.
What a way to look at your games, because, man,
It must have been good.
yeah, you had to have enjoyed something out of it.
Yeah.
But that's a really good pick. And talking about being pissed off, my number 5 is Budokai 3.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. God, I fucking hate you, Rob.
I know. Sometimes I hate me too.
I played that game so much. I tried so hard at everything about that game. But Rob was always better at fucking fighting games. Just in general. In any fighting game I ever played against Rob, I can't fucking beat him.
Why do you say was? He still is.
Well,
Yeah, he still
that's
is.
also true. But
Thank you.
it's just it's a legend that's lived on, especially in Dragon Ball Z games.
Yeah.
For some fucking reason, Rob goes Super Saiyan in every goddamn game I've ever played. But God, that game, I put so much time into that.
We both did.
Yeah, playing against each other specifically. But and obviously I'm joking around when I say I fucking hate you, to an extent. But playing with each other, we had so much fucking laughs with that game.
Yeah.
Omega Shenron, the Super Saiyan 4 battles.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun as a co-op game, just fighting against
Yeah.
each other and with our friends. That game has lived on as my personal favorite Dragon Ball Z game ever. So,
Yes.
I love fighters. And I don't know if it's going to be on anybody's top 5s, but I love that game. I think it's such a great Dragon Ball game.
Oh,
It lives up to everything about Dragon Ball so well.
I think it's arguably the best one.
Since Budokai 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
I
argue
agree.
I would argue that Budokai 3 just has a little bit above it. Only on I think it's more. It feels more like Dragon Ball Z to me. I mean, I love the fighters aspect, but
I'm going to disagree with you on the idea that it feels more. Now that is topical.
wow, that's really specific and odd timing.
And in comes Johnny.
Wearing a Goku shirt.
New challenger. So we have another new challenger. Wow, this is really odd how we're getting visitors for
Yeah.
these podcasts. I mean, if you want to jump in at any time, you'll have to come really close because this mic's not going to pick you up from there. We're talking about our top 5 multiplayer games. Yeah, so Johnny joined in. He might come in at some point, and now we can talk directly to him about certain things. When it comes to certain stories, but we're talking about Budokai 3. We'll keep talking about Budokai 3 for a second, but again, that's more of it's number 5. I'll talk about placement for a second. I played that game a lot more by myself. Like there were the times I played a lot with Rob and Mike, but I played that game mainly by myself. How much did you play Budokai 3, Justin?
I played Budokai 3 a lot for a really long time. No, Budokai 3 is not the game that you think.
No, you're thinking of fighters.
Budokai 3 came out a long time.
Oh, Alexa. So we have Justin's significant other, Alexa, here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, everyone that's listening to us is all of our friends. So what the fuck do you care?
We know we have a really big fan
So
base.
Alexa, how much did you play Budokai 3? Apparently, you were a big fan.
Too much. That's it. That's
Wow.
all I have to say.
She's a fucking prodigy.
Yeah, really. You want to play sometime?
Is that the one? Wait, is that the one where in the
Yes.
the save screens you had to do
Yep,
the
yeah. That was the other thing I loved
Blisters.
about those games.
The stupid
It's the
Cyberman.
stupid,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
or, like,
minigame.
or like Spinning Master Roshi.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
So, you were talking about Budokai 3.
Yeah, the original point I was getting to is, although I love Budokai 3 and I can understand why you feel like it was going to be the truer adaptation as opposed to DBZ Fighters, I think the fan service in DBZ Fighters and the how close it is to the source material is actually a little bit more significant than Budokai 3. Budokai 3 has it in the fact that there's more characters.
Yeah.
The fact is, DBZ Fighters is light on characters. It's something Johnny and I have talked about a bunch. And I think that's the huge difference. But if you have that fight list in Fighters, that game's better.
Do you know why Fighters is so good though? Yeah, with the source material, yeah, I think the fan service in that is phenomenal. But I think Budokai 3 paved the way for Fighters, and I think Fighters is so good because it kind of brought back that aspect of Budokai, which has been missing for what, like more about a
Budokai 3 was
decade?
like 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely
more
a
than-
decade. Yeah.
I think that's why Fighters is so good.
Now-
because for me, it brings back my nostalgia for Budokai.
I don't know about you guys. I actually enjoyed Tenkaichi.
Yes.
I really liked Tenkaichi. The third person perspective for me
Yep.
was really cool, and I thought it brought a different perspective on how to play the game. I don't know if I'd put it above Budokai 3, but I'd put it very close to
I
Budokai 3.
completely agree with you, and that's really an unpopular opinion, by the way, that you and I have. is that-
Really?
yeah, because a lot of people really didn't like Tenkaichi at all.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I hate it. I hate Tenkaichi.
I don't share.
Absolutely
your
hate
opinion.
Tenkaichi. But I'm glad Johnny walked in because there is a game that comes close to Budokai 3. And that was Raging Blast 2.
Yes.
We had so much fun, and that's a game where I can say, like, I did have a lot of fun fighting other people in that game, but me and Johnny specifically played that game together. And, and then I did play Justin a lot in that game. I fought him a lot, and he loved Yamcha. Because Yamcha had a specific move where he would hit you with a special and just smile afterwards. It would cut to him specifically smiling. It was so fucking annoying. And yeah, but again, the theme of wanting to punch your friend in the face in real life as well as in the game. But there's one. Well, I'll talk about this one story and then we'll go to our number 4s. But this one specific story about Raging Blast 2, where we were playing. Johnny and I were playing Raging Blast 2 against the hardest difficulty computers, and one of them was Gogeta specifically. And for some reason, like we were taking turns, we were beating the shit out of this computer, and at some point, it was Johnny who was playing, and Gogeta gets up and just stops moving. He stops moving and starts staring at Johnny, and Johnny's flying around him, and he's just turning, looking at Johnny the whole time. Johnny's just spinning around him, going, "Why is he standing still?" And then at one point, just randomly, he's flying around, and then Gogeta just charges him at one random point, kicks him right in the face. Just those random moments with fighting games specifically. I don't know how many other fighting games are on these lists, but that hits it for me. That Raging Blast 2. I know we were just talking about Budokai 3 specifically, but that was another good honorable mention. So that was all of our top 5s, right? I hit everybody.
I think everybody got it, yeah.
So number 4, this time we'll start with Justin.
Rocket League.
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna go new school because it's something that I still play. It's something that we first played Rocket League 3 years ago when it was a PS4 play for free game in its indie phase.
Really that long ago?
Yeah, and you and I were like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," and we played it for a little bit.
I downloaded it. I showed it to you. I was
Yeah.
like, "You would really like this game," and we both sat there. We played it, and I kicked the shit out of him almost every single time. And cut to a few years later.
And now it's turned into this phenomenon. I mean,
Yeah.
Rocket League truly has become a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And I have found myself to love this game. As the years have gone on, my time playing it has increased over the past 2.5, 3 years. And it's a game that even to this day, I'm striving to get better and be better.
Literally to this day, I'm sure you played it today.
I played it a couple times today. Jordan and I played it. It didn't go very well. I went from diamond back to platinum, and I'm pissed about it.
I think that game is such a phenomenon that even Overwatch copied it in a game mode that they had with, like, what was it, Lucio Ball?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's a thing where you kind of jump on the bandwagon, like battle royales.
Right.
You just jump on the bandwagon, like everybody loves this, so why not? Let's just keep the ball rolling. No pun intended.
But I think that says a lot for even a game like Overwatch to recognize that how great a game Rocket League is.
Oh, yeah.
To have their own version of it. I think for a co-op based shooting game to copy a game like Rocket League.
Rocket League blew up first though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Rocket League was grandfathered into that.
It's amazing because, in all honesty, Rocket League is so incredibly mainstream right now. It truly is a very mainstream game. It's more than a game at this point. I think what makes Rocket League so appealing is that it models that of a sport. You watch these guys do these crazy things. I don't know if you ever watched the YouTube videos where you watch the guys fly in the air and they do these backward shots. I'm just starting to figure it out. But it's one of those things you watch these videos and you go, that was cool. I want to do that. I can do that. It's a video game. It's not a sport where I actually have to apply actual physical athleticism and talents to it. I just have to sit in front of my TV and keep practicing and doing the same thing over and over again. There's an innate want to actually get better.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that game had. I mean, maybe it's just me being naive to Rocket League and its popularity, but I don't know of any like MLG gaming like they do with like Call of Duty or whatever, with Rocket League. I'm surprised that they don't have some type of competitive tournament going on.
Oh, they do.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, they
Of
do,
course
and it
they
has
do, yeah.
announcers and everything. It's
That's
broadcast
awesome.
on Twitch.
That's great.
You know, the whole thing with Rocket League is it actually has a culture to it, and a big thing behind it is the original Rocket League is the music playlist. That music
Yeah.
playlist,
It's great. It's got great music.
it's got great
Yeah.
music, but that music actually really kind of goes hand in hand with the Rocket League culture. If you really, really are curious about it, I don't know. I'm not a big I don't watch the tournaments. Jordan does because he wants to see what the pros are doing, and they're doing things we just can't do.
Right.
But it's certainly become its own thing now.
I didn't even know they had music in that game. That's how little I know. Like I didn't even know they had this like incredible playlist that like created this culture of. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think that's a good
It's
way.
very
to,
new age.
It's
very new
it's like
age.
EDM
Oh, all right.
in a much more not mainstream. It's an EDM style, but the music's good. It'll get you sitting in that main. It makes you enjoy sitting in the main menu, which a lot of games don't.
Yeah.
As I hope Battlefield is on one of your lists so I can talk about how shitty that bullshit is. Fucking sitting in main menus for 48 minutes.
I just told Alexa I want to go home and play Rocket League.
So yeah, no, Rocket League number 4. That's it for you. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'll kick off number 4 here, and I don't know if it's gonna be on anybody else's. We'll talk about it now. Halo 3.
There you go.
Halo 3, specifically the custom games.
Yes.
Boy, Forge
Yeah.
changed the fucking world.
Oh,
yeah.
Forge, I mean, the concept of changing maps has been around forever, obviously. The modding has been around forever, since the invention of video games. But when Halo made it console exclusive to take a big-ass map, literally put whatever the fuck you wanted in that thing, and you can just play whatever you want, making a game type where you built D-Day, you built Normandy,
Yeah.
and you had falling barrels that would explode upon impact. That game just had literally no end to it.
It had everything.
It had everything you wanted in that stupid custom game, and so many great memories. I can't even get into them. There's too many to talk about here, but I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about Halo 3, but
Well, I mean, Halo. Rob actually changed my number 5, which was Halo Reach, and Halo 2 was just so memorable because we played it with a bunch of people,
that's nostalgia for me. Straight up
Right,
nostalgia.
yeah.
Is Halo 2,
and that's where the Joe combo came from.
the Joe combo.
So for those who don't know, the Joe combo is an SMG and a pistol, because you used to be able to dual wield.
Yeah.
in Halo
Right.
2.
But you can't do it anymore. So
No,
the Joe combo kind of died away with the taking away of dual wielding. But
Yeah.
I think
But that started the hype for me, playing that Halo 2, on multiplayer with everybody.
Yeah.
And then jumping into Halo 3 and all the maps that we all created and we all, downloaded from the community. It was awesome.
split screening and whatnot. Halo 3 was one of my earliest multiplayer experiences. Just playing with 6 or 7 of my high school friends.
Yep.
People I don't even really talk to. Just everybody in this party, one party, just killing each other. I mean, it was just an experience I never had before until certain games later on that we'll talk about later. But that game lives on in my memory, definitely. I don't know about you, Justin.
Oh yeah, I played a lot of Halo 3. Halo 3 was actually the first Halo game I ever played.
Well, that's surprising.
I didn't get an Xbox, and I got the Xbox exclusive with the Halo 3, and that was my very first Xbox. So I missed the bandwagon with Halo 1 and Halo 2, and I tried to make up for lost time. I played a lot of Halo 3. I have a Halo on my list, it's just not Halo 3. Rocket Dash. That was my go-to game in Halo.
I remember
With the
that.
Warthogs, and you
Yeah.
had the guy on your back. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That used to be my favorite game type. That was always what I ended up playing.
Yeah, imagine that. Like, for anyone that knows Halo, you know that it's a shooter, but you can have all these great fun racing games within the custom games. It's ridiculous how much fun you can have separately. So
I mean, I think you guys said it all. There are so many custom. I think there was like a Jenga tower thing in Halo 3 as well.
yeah, I remember the Jenga Tower.
The racing, the Normandy stuff. I think there was a paintball type game in Halo 3 for custom games. And there was another one that I'm thinking of that I can't exactly remember. But Justin was actually just talking about this, or Johnny was just talking about this like a couple days ago, which is where you would just launch things off those gravity launchers at people. Oh, that is Jenga? Okay, so maybe I'm thinking of two different versions of Jenga, but man, the Halo 3 custom game was just incredible.
So, Rob, do you want to do your number 4 now?
Sure. So my number 4 kind of breaks down into just kind of an actual, I guess, series of games that they've let out, which starts from GameCube, WWE Day of Reckoning, up to probably like WWE SmackDown versus Raw.
And I assume you're talking about 2K14 with
Yeah,
all the characters.
Yep. Just the customization, just the crazy shit that you do with your friends in ladder matches and Money in the Bank matches, and Hell in a Cell. Countless laughs and countless memories with you guys just playing those games.
You and Mike specifically, I can remember going back to Day of Reckoning and loving playing wrestling games. But then after that, it kind of died away. Like, I was just playing wrestling games by myself. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, me, Johnny, and Justin got heavily into 2K14.
Yep.
And we just started creating all these stupid, ridiculous characters. It didn't really start like that, though. We just created ourselves. And then we would play the normal games. But one of my favorite crowning moments was finally getting you two to play one ladder match where we all sat there and we played a ladder match for like 45 straight minutes. Because Mike was having so much fun as this character, Yokozuna, who was this big 500-pounder who Mike never stopped getting up with. No matter who was climbing that fucking ladder, what would happen?
I mean, Yokozuna clanged to life. Like, he just did.
But he didn't just cling to life. He was clinging to life in the voice of JR, the commentator.
He did, yeah.
The Jim Ross commentary was one of the most legendary things about that stupid game. I mean, and I say stupid in the most loving way because from that point on, we were all in it. And then from that point on, the character creation just went fucking wild. And I know Justin has a lot of really specific things. He was like, I remember he calling me going, I know who my next character is going to be. Like it was an art project.
It was an art project.
was.
Popo took me like 2 weeks. Hercule took me a week. Catman took me a couple of hours. Myself took me a couple of hours. Let's see. The Crimson Chin. Crimson took all night.
I slept over Justin's one night. We made the Crimson Chin and Cleft. And that took all
And it was solid.
And they were both
they
very
were
good,
solid.
yeah.
Your passion for those games actually made me want to create characters in that game. So that's when I got back into those games. Because the last wrestling game I played before that was SmackDown vs. Raw 2008.
Yeah.
And the only character I made in that was Mr. America, and he looked Mexican. And it was the most ridiculous thing. He had
How
the Hulk
topical.
Hogan. Yeah, right? He had the Hulk Hogan, like, I'm a real American song, right? But that was the last character I created. So when I got into 2K14, I'm like, I love Batman. He's my favorite. I'm going to make a Batman. It took me weeks to make this Batman.
I can definitely say without question, you and Justin were the top two character creators. You guys put so much time and effort into those games. Justin's Popo and Hercule specifically. I think those are my personal two favorites that Justin ever
Even
made.
more so than Catman.
Catman is amazing in different ways because he's only based off of your imagination. Like you just thought of this person and you made him, but out of making a character that exists, the time and effort you guys put in to make those things, Popo was stupid how close you made that character.
That was incredibly frustrating.
And Hercule, his face, his eyes, I don't know how the fuck he did that. But
Sorry to cut you off. I can remember, Mike, because like Mike said, we used to share a system. I can remember playing my turn, handing the controller off to Mike, and then coming back after an hour or so, and he's only moved up like, it goes from like head to torso. He's only moved one slot.
I mean, I would sit there for hours and just look at a picture on my phone of the character I was creating. And every single minute detail of like where the costume curved and at what point the mask came past, like everything.
It was a true emotional undertaking.
Oh, yeah. It took forever.
There were nights where I would get home and I'd be like, I just don't have it in me to even attempt to start. And it was one of those things, I don't know about you, but I had to do it in one sitting. I couldn't come back to it. And if I had to come back to it, I felt like I was losing something, and it took more time. Popo took me a week and a half because a lot of it was I'd come back to it and I'd be like, what I did last night, I don't like it all of a sudden. I got to go back and I got to do it again. Mm-hmm. Doing it in one sitting made it a lot easier to kind of just continue that flow. Yeah. And it took a lot out of me. There were nights where I walked in the door and I just don't have it in me tonight, man. I can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, the Batman iteration I made was The Dark Knight. and his face is super, it's old, it's wrinkly, it's got these jagged edges on his cheeks. So that was like the most difficult part of that whole thing. But also just like, creating the costume. And, after Batman, and that took forever, I did Green Lantern. But I didn't just do Green Lantern. I did every color
Yeah.
of Green Lantern.
See, and that's another thing. Like, your crowning jewels, I feel like, are definitely Batman. Batman's,
That came out really well.
it came out so goddamn good. But somehow, some way, you created Captain Falcon.
I did. That's right.
Somehow, you made this perfect, just character-to-character, exact replica of Captain Falcon in this fucking wrestling game.
And the movesets
Exactly.
would match.
The time and effort you put in not only to creating these characters, but the entrances and the move sets. Because
yeah,
move
that's
sets,
so back.
for anyone that has never played a wrestling game, the move sets take you another 40 minutes themselves.
And that's almost as nearly as important as
Oh,
the
yeah.
appearance itself.
Yeah, for you guys especially.
I mean, what they do is part of who they are as a character,
Yeah.
right? So that's got to be important.
So I think wrestling games, that was a good pick. I have to say.
And I do have to just pat myself in the back for spending so much time making Mermaid Man and Barnacle.
Oh yes, Rob's crowning jewels, easily my favorites. Just like as much time and effort as you guys put in, just watching Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy walking out together.
And the fat version of
Robin,
Of Robin.
that has okay.
Gay
Man
Robin.
tape.
Before we move on, the funniest fucking thing I had ever seen in that video game was when we decided to put all of these created characters in a Royal Rumble, and we're watching 3 characters in the ring. There's 2 monstrous thing characters that Johnny made that just are abominations to humankind. But they were beating up on Batman,
Oh my
and
god.
then
I
the
remember
next
this.
number was fucking Fat Robin coming out to the rescue.
A very effeminate Robin.
These were all, by the way, computers. We had no control over what was happening. The 2 big monsters were beating up on Batman, teaming up on Batman. Robin comes out and starts fighting the 2 big things, and they start fighting together. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, that wrestling game, that was a good pick. All right, for these top 3s, I think we're gonna zoom through these.
All right.
In the sense you didn't even do your number 4 though.
No, but mine was talked about already. So
What was it?
The arcade game for Teenage Mutant.
Oh
Ninja Turtles.
yeah. So that was number 4 for you. So you can kick us off with number 3.
So number 3 was also talked about. It was Guitar Hero 3.
Awesome. So we're rolling.
Rolling
We're
along.
rolling along. All right, Justin, you're number 3.
Madden. And not
okay.
any particular incarnation or year of Madden. I'm going to say Madden throughout. It was the game that I went and got the new copy every single year, and it may not be something that you guys know about me, but I don't know if you remember the show Madden Nation on ESPN, where they would take the top Madden players, and it would be a little like, think of like a Jersey Shore with kids that played Madden, and the winner would get $50,000. I actually almost got on the television show.
Oh wow.
I made it all the way to the qualifiers. I came in second place. I lost the championship match that would have actually put me on the television show. My best team, it was the 2006 Madden with, I believe, 2006 was Sean Alexander on the cover. It was a year of the running back. The Oakland Raiders were my number 1 team, which made no sense because their rating was trash, but I was really good with them. And my online record that year was 175-4.
Wow. Wow.
God.
That's impressive.
I qualified all the way to the second place. Unfortunately, I missed out on the show, but if I have to pick a year, it'll be 2006 with Sean Alexander on the cover. But overall, Madden was just a game that I always went to from 1999 all the way to 2012. I've kind of fallen off since then. I got a new Madden every single
Now,
year.
there's only one thing I want to talk to you about Madden real quick. Because Madden is the first time I remember you really exploiting your gambling problem. Because you have a very interesting idea of betting against people. It's like, I'll bet you $50 you can't beat me if I play this character. If I can play this team and you can't beat me, I'll bet you $50. And I remember specifically one time you bet $500 and lost.
Yeah, I did. I bet Johnny $500 that he could never beat me one time ever in Madden. And for the first 4.5 years of the bet, I was right. And then, no, it was 4 years, thank you. And then he decided to throw a Hail Mary more so than usual in this one particular game where my defense, I don't really know what my defense was doing. I think they maybe went out and partied the night before and just didn't have it, couldn't bring it that day. But they watched ball after ball after ball go over their heads as Johnny Rangaman for the touchdowns. And he won with, I think, did you walk off the field with a Hail Mary win? He did. He won with 0 seconds left on the clock with a Hail Mary win.
So where did that $500 go?
He got, I owe him $450.
So you said that you stopped really getting Madden in 2012. Was this match held in 2012?
Yeah.
Oh, that's oddly
So
specific.
Johnny ruined your Madden career.
No, he didn't. He severely bruised my ego. Madden, I've played Madden recently, and to be honest, I know you guys maybe aren't the biggest sports games now. The games are so technical, they're so in-depth. It almost gets to the point where you have too much control, where you're controlling the torso and the legs and the head movement, and it's just like, I just want my guy to run forward. And it's getting to, for me now, because I've also taken a couple of years hiatus, it's hard to get back and actually be effective. My defense, I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. And when I try and run the ball, and that was, for me, running the ball was a big thing. I could run the ball better than anybody, and that's why I was so successful all those years playing. Now it's become so difficult because there's so many little aspects to do it. It just, I don't enjoy it as much anymore. It's too much, in my opinion, of a football simulation, and there's not enough arcade aspect to it.
Sad.
Indeed.
My number 3 is Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Okay.
So I think I can easily put any Super Smash on this list. Because equally, each and every one of them has an amazing memory to it. Or 50,000. Brawl, I can't say I literally got a game, and you guys were there, so you know, at midnight, and spent 12 hours unlocking about 10, 15 characters in every possible way you could. And I remember the final moment, it was Sonic was the final... No, Sonic was like the first character we got. It was supposed to be the hardest. So, for some reason, I remember staying up until like 6 or 7 a.m., and it was me and Rob, the final 2 standing. We were the last 2 awake, and we finally unlocked that last character. And it was just that one of those memories where, and then from that point forward, I can't remember a Smash we've played more. Like that game we played with all of our friends endlessly for years. And the Wii U came out, the Super Smash Bros. Wii U came out, and that's the one we played from then on. But we never played it nearly as much as Brawl. No. So I gotta say, it has to be Brawl.
So my number 3.
Well, I mean, if anyone has anything, they
Oh,
will.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's my number 1, so we talked about it.
Well, we'll
Super
talk.
Smash is actually my number 1 as well.
Oh my
that's
god!
my number 2.
Wow. So Brawl is specifically all of
Yeah,
your guys.
specific.
Wow, I hit it then. I nailed it.
I would say Brawl, but any of them. Any of them.
For me, you know, Super Smash Bros. Has been a big part of my childhood all the way from N64 and on. But Brawl was the one that I found myself not only playing with you guys, Jordan, Robin, Alex, Derek. We played it every day at college. So that was the game.
I remember that. I remember visiting you at college, and that was like it was like a nightly routine for you.
It was
guys.
everything. The night the Wii died, real quick, because I know we're a little strapped for time. We all went out drinking, and we all went out to the bars, and we were all trying to pick up girls, and within 20 minutes, we're like, yeah, I want to go home and play some Brawl. Let's all go home and play some Brawl. So we all went back, and we were a little buzzed. We walk into our apartment, and we go and we sit down on the couch, and now we all get set. We got our popcorn. We're ready to go. This is a big deal. This is Brawl. This is not childhood antics. This is man shit. So, so we go and we turn the Wii on. Nothing.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
But that's okay, because we used to beat the crap out of this thing, so I guess it's all right, no big deal. We'll just unplug everything. We'll give it the royal treatment. It'll come back to us.
Did you blow on the cartridge?
We did everything you could possibly think of. Turned it back on, because it was going to turn on. Nothing. Now there's a silence. And Robin just goes, that's not good. So now Jordan gets up. He does the whole thing again, the whole shebang. Nothing. So now we're like, I can't explain to you how sullen the room had become. It was so quiet, and everyone's just like, oh my God, this just happened. Like, after all the years of abuse, the Wii it's dead. It's
like
finally
someone
gone.
died.
It was really, really tragic. And we all dispersed. We didn't even want to hang out with one another anymore. It was over. We all went to our respective quarters, and that was it. About an hour and a half later, now it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just laying in bed, and I'm literally was laying in bed staring at my ceiling like, this really sucks. I really want to do this tonight. I got up out of my bed. I walked into the living room. I literally stood over the Wii and went, look, you've been with me my entire college career. Now is not the time to die. Now is the time to rise. Quote me on that. Press the power button and turned on.
Oh my god.
I freaked the fuck out. I banged on everybody's door. Woke up Jordan, woke up Robin, woke up Alex. Get up, the Wii's up! They hopped out of bed. We played for the next 3 hours till 5 o'clock.
What a story.
That's really amazing.
Oh my god, what a fighter that system was.
You
man.
ask any of them, ask them about the night the Wii died, and they'll go,
That's great.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the Wii never died for us.
That's right.
No, it didn't.
It's last the whole
We
time.
took good care of that.
My
We
Wii went the whole distance until I got the Wii U, and I just lost all the pieces for it.
Yeah.
Those GameCube controllers still. No, I actually take that back. Those took a fucking beating.
Oh yeah. I mean, those took. I had to actually take them apart and like mix the buttons around just to get them to work
Oh
the right
yeah,
way.
I remember
again.
that. Your fucking Frankenstein controllers.
I did. Yeah, I had to.
So
They beat the
well,
shit out of
that
those
nailed a bunch off the list.
so here, you know what? You have my 1, you got my 3, let me give you my 2, and then I can be done. My number 2 is Halo Reach.
That was my number 5 until I had to change it.
Yeah. Halo Reach is my
game.
number 2. In my opinion, it was my favorite story. I thought it was
Yes,
a really
I agree.
cool story.
Agreed.
The multiplayer was clean. Loved the DMR. DMR is my
Yes.
favorite weapon.
And the introduction of assassinations.
Yes, the introduction of Assassinations. It was the one, like I said, I didn't have an early Xbox, so I missed out on the LAN party. Halo Reach was my real first LAN party experience, and there was nothing better than staying up 24 hours playing Halo Reach.
Yep.
Instead of getting an education. It was perfect.
Your mother would be
And
rolling right now.
needing
I'm sure she
the
said
Carter helmet was
Yeah.
priority. Yes, thank you. The Carter helmet was a need. It wasn't a want. It was a need. And when I finally got that Carter helmet, it was like the gift that keeps on giving. Every time I get an assassination, or if I got first place and look at myself wearing that Carter helmet, I felt complete as a man. So for me, Halo Reach comes in as a solid number 2.
That's a good.
I
That's
feel like a
love it.
Master Chief, if you will.
No, I'm a Carter.
Okay.
So, Mike's number 3 was
Guitar Hero.
right, and so and your number 2 was Smash.
It was.
So Rob, what was your number 2?
Well, my number 3 was Gears of War 3.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I skipped your 3 entirely.
Yep,
and that's
you
Gears
totally-
of War 3.
Gears of War 3.
I'm surprised.
That's shocking. My number 2 is Gears of War 3. So we can just talk
Wow.
about this right now.
Let's do it.
Well, if we're
How
gonna
is
talk
Gears of
about
War
it-
3 your number 3? I would think that was
Because I have 2 others that are more near and dear to my heart.
which
See,
one was number 1 Smash. You said
Right.
But okay, so but Gears though.
And
That's my number
well,
one.
we actually talked about your number 5, which is my number 2, which is Budokai 3.
Okay.
So
yeah.
now we're number 1
we,
is Smash.
we hit that. So
Yeah.
but that's so surprising to me that it doesn't hit your number 2 or 1 because
Because I think in general, we had more friends and more time invested into our Super Smash games.
yeah, that's true. We had a lot more
And
time. Yeah.
And I would argue that most people who have played Smash and other games would agree with that because you can get more people involved, and there's more characters. I think it's an easier game to get into, and I think it would appeal to more people than an actual third-person
It
shooter.
definitely does appeal to more people. I agree, but Gears, as a collective friend group,
Yeah.
You have such a notorious reputation linked to that game. You are like when we think Gears of War 3, we think Rob Danielson. That's what I. But we don't only think we think of like the deep, hidden, dark Rob Danielson that most of the populace does not know about.
That's right.
Because there are things you have said on that headset playing that game that people's eyes would cross if they heard what you said to these people.
Well, I should say that that's not really the true Rob Danielson because I kind of went into a blackout rage frenzy when I played that game, and I don't think I've ever said the phrase "fuck this game" more in my life.
That's
than
where it was
playing
born.
that game.
That's
That's
where
where.
fuck
That
this
is
game
where it
That's
was
right.
That's
born
right.
in
I
Gears.
just want to say that Gears 3 would have made my list, but I cut it out only because really the only reason why I played Gears 3 was not less for the gameplay, more to play with you guys. You guys
Yeah.
were my
Yeah.
first Gears 3 experience. I know for me, one of my most memorable memories, other than you always just raging or you trolling people, was when we were playing and those kids were yelling at us, and I just randomly started singing "Listen to Your Heart."
Yes, I remember that.
And the level of confusion on the other end and the laughter was one of the best moments of my life. I just want to throw that out there.
Because that's what it was. I mean,
It was.
I couldn't fucking tell you any good memory playing gameplay of that game besides one or two experiences where come get a taste happened, and Johnny's insane comebacks for the team.
Oh my
where
God.
it would be the team deathmatch where at the end of the game you'd have every person would have one life. And for some reason this happened a lot more than it should have, where we would all die and Johnny would be the last one left fighting for the team.
Quite often.
And killing everyone else on the other team.
Yep.
But there was one specific time where I remember he's going off, he's killing everybody, and I'm sitting there, I'm just watching him, and he gets like a triple kill. He kills like 3 people in a row in this insane way, and I go, it's just like there's just silence because we're all just waiting for Johnny to win the game for us, and I go, it's got to be the hair cotton, feathered and lethal. He starts dying and dies instantly. He starts laughing his ass off and dies instantly. That's,
marriage,
oh
yeah.
yeah, and there's like again, that just goes to what I said. I can't relate to all these great stories when it comes to gameplay. It's just the stupid shit we would say and do in that game, where in the middle of a game, a real life game with other people, we're standing on this top of a hill, and Johnny is holding a sniper rifle with Mike, who's playing, and this girl who we had met randomly at some point in that game, are standing at the hilltop. Johnny is being a fucking minister performing a wedding. And Mike and this girl are just standing still as the process is happening, as the fight is going on around them. They're being defended by me, and that's 3 people. So then was it 5 to a team or was it 4 to a team?
5.
So then it had to have been. It couldn't have been because they were sharing Xboxes. So it had to have been somebody else, but
Andy Mack.
it was probably Andy. And so it was me and this other person just defending this wedding as Johnny's going, "Dearly beloved," and he would say a couple lines, and he would go, "Hold on," quick pause, headshot, and he'd kill somebody all across the map with a sniper rifle, and he'd go right back to the fucking sermon. This is the dumbest shit ever. And then one more quick story with Gears of War 3. I've never laughed so hard in my life in a loading screen, where we were just sitting there, Johnny's the party leader, and we're just sitting there, and Johnny is the party leader, and he goes, "All right, what are we doing?" And Mike just goes into this fucking tangent as Batman, the Christian Bale Batman.
That's right.
And just so we're going, no, Mike's the party leader because this is what happens. So he goes, so he's going on his Batman. This is the one line I'll always fucking remember. And he goes, all right, and Johnny's like, all right, come on, fucking start the game already. And Mike goes, okay. He starts the game. He starts the queue for like 3 seconds. He cancels it and goes, "Or maybe we could talk about justice."
That's still something we say to
Yeah,
this day.
it's so fucking funny. I've never laughed harder on a fucking loading screen. And even when I'm getting offline, like the stupid things you guys say. Yeah, I was all right. I gotta get offline, and Rob would go, "Oh, you fucking turkey," for no reason, because it's 4 a.m. and we're all delusional. Or I go, "Okay, good night, Mike," and Mike would go, "You can call me Dynamite." For no discernible reason other than we're all delusional at 4 a.m. So that again, I'm so shocked that that's your number 3 because
And that's where here I go again on my own.
Yeah,
That's where
that's
that one came from too.
Oh my God, that's right.
the Horde
So
games.
many things.
The Horde games. Oh, there was another one. Oh,
If I were Benji.
If I Were Benji. That's the Justin classic. Where everyone had a specific character that they liked to play as, where I was always Baird, Rob was always Cole, Mike was always Marcus, Johnny was always Dom, and Justin was always Benji. And for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but he just wasn't Benji. Was it like a Horde game where somebody stole his character or something?
Yeah.
And Justin's one reasoning behind us losing was, if I were Benji, this wouldn't happen.
But it was true.
So that game, so many great memories. I can't even there's so many more. We can't. Even,
yeah.
there's just
So many more.
too much
Can't
to
even-
talk
can't-
about.
Yeah, can't even start to talk
We
about
also
it.
met a lot of people in that, like Andy Mack. Andy Macca, like he was a staple in that game
Yeah.
for us.
But again, it's entirely connected to Gears, though.
Oh yeah.
Everything it was connected to the fucking.
And I feel like that game is like the last game I can remember where the Xbox community was so lively, and now it's just dead.
Lively's a
no
good
one talks to
word for it.
anybody.
Lively's a
No one
PG
talks to
word for it.
anybody. A lot of games actually take out game chat, like PUBG. I mean, I know it's a PC really game, but now it's on Xbox. There's no game chat in that. A lot of the fighting games, there's no game chat. It's just like I feel like, especially with the new gen, a lot of this shit is just kind of left behind and forgotten.
Yeah, but do you remember what the community was like on that game?
It was so toxic.
It's
That's
terrible.
what made it so fun.
Racist
no,
is
no,
another
no.
good word for it.
I think we made it fun.
Yeah.
But the truth is,
Yeah.
the community was toxic, and the community can be toxic, and it makes for at times an unpleasant gaming experience. And
If you're playing by yourself, but when you had your team and your friends behind
Sure.
you, and Rob specifically just ruining these people's lives for some reason, because Rob just decided to personally attack these people, just rip into their personal lives for no particular reason.
Like I said, if you want to call them people, you can. Be my guest.
you
but-
were curlers to bed.
That was another one. Oh my god.
I mean, whoever was talking to me over that, whatever it was for sure beneath me.
But I mean, like, just to touch on the toxicity of that, that community that played that game. There was this one game we played, and we lost. We didn't lose terribly, but we lost. But, as soon as we finished the game, one of the people on the opposing team went, "Ah, you little bitch!" And we were just like, I was like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, "Ah." I'm like, what are you, Popeye? "Ah, I'm gonna get you. Ah." And this guy was like, "Shut the fuck up," and he left the lobby.
Yeah.
Like he just got totally.
That
shut
happened
down.
a lot. It would happen so much where these guys would talk so much shit, and then as soon as you'd say something back, they'd be like, "Oh, fuck you," and then just leave. Like they had nothing else to say.
You're gay.
Oh, yeah, there it is. So, is that everybody's number ones? Oh, well, did we hit all of them? Does
Mine was
anyone-
Gears 3. That
Yeah,
was my number
so,
one.
and then you said your number 2, you said your number 1, you said your number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So then I can end it by saying my number 1 is Overwatch. Thank you guys. Good night. Did anyone else have anything to close us out with?
I mean, I think that's it. I think that's just kind of.
I don't
took it out of
know.
my sentence.
I don't know if the mic picked that up. I wish it
I've
did.
been holding that in for over an hour.
And that's the game.
And that's
And that's
the
the game.
wow. What an ending. Yeah. Overwatch is the best. Good night.